Hey everyone, Hoodie Mafia here. The most recent expansion of EVE Online introduced buffs to the Recon class ships. I figured I'd try my hand at flying one of these in a pure combat role. After doing some research, I settled on the Rook. The Rook now does a nice amount of damage with missiles and drones, and I took advantage of it by fitting rapid light missile launchers. In the video, you'll see me flying two different fittings. Here you can see the first fit. It uses two large Ancillary shield boosters as its tank, and utilizes almost all of the remaining mid slots to crank out as much tank as possible. The first fight takes place in Esser, which is a Amar faction warfare area. I find a small frigate gang on the gate which I would like to fight, however I'm unwilling to take gate guns. So what I end up doing instead is pulling my drones and warping to the more medium outpost, in the hopes that they follow me. And luckily for me they do. So I enter the outpost here to split them up. And I noticed that the first thing that lands on grip with me is the Hawk. Now even though he's first, I'm not interested in shooting the Hawk. He has a very strong resist profile against me, and he doesn't even do that much damage. Much more interesting target is the Worm. He does more damage, is more fragile than the Hawk, and happens to be more expensive. So the Hawk ends up slipping out of my scrum range, but he still dies. Managed to kill the Thresher here, my last couple of missiles, and I realized that I'm running very low on boosters right now. I am, however, fairly confident that I can get the reload off, since I still have a few charges left, and the reload's only like 20 seconds from completing. However, it doesn't happen that way. So after losing this Rook, I decided to shell out a bit of ISK and get myself a Dead Space Shield Booster for the next one. The advantage of the Dead Space Shield Booster is that there's no reload time, which the Ancillary Shield Booster does have, which means that it has a more sustainable tank, and at the same time maintaining quite a decent burst tank. The downside, of course, is that it's slightly more expensive, and it is very weak to neutralizing ships like the Curse or the Ashima. The next portion of the video takes place in Caldari lowsec. I'm in Warp 2 in a more small outpost, where I spotted a bunch of frigates killing a Cyclone. However, when I land, there's more than just Cyclone and frigates, there's also a Curse on ground. Cyclone dies, and because I don't want to fight a curse, I decide to warp off here. However, the Garmer gets a point on me just before I warp. So I instantly switch to him to try and get the point off. Because he's using links and he's going 6,000 meters per second, my missiles don't actually hit him at all. So my train of thought here was, I need to get rid of this curse. I might not be able to tackle him, but maybe I can force him off with enough damage. So I end up going for him. I try to get into scrum range of him, but there's a Daredevil on field now, and it's not gonna happen. As you can see, the newts are pressuring me quite hard, and at this point I'm hoping that I can make it through the reload to at least get some more damage on the curse. So I'm able to force the curse off. And I decide to go for the Daredevil. Now, looking back at it, scramming him straight away was a mistake. My missiles were still on reload, and if he would have realized the danger he was in, he would have just gotten that. However, he decides that it's safe enough to come and approach me again. And I do manage to land another scram. So the Daredevil is down, and I can at least move again. And I'm trying to get the Tristan now. I force the Tristan off, but I still have this Garmer I need to deal with. And to make things worse, the curse comes back in. I give the Garmer another try, but it's obvious that I'm never going to hit him. So I'm going back to my initial plan, which is trying to get the curse off the field. And I end up alternating here between the drones that are on me and the curse, just to minimize the amount of damage that I'm taking. So I'm on my last cap booster here, and the curse is still on me, so I'm in a lot of trouble. Trying to kill as much drones as I can. So that was the last booster. I'm completely out of cap boosters right now, so at this point I'm relying on my passive recharge. So, managed to get to curse the warp off again, which gives me a bit of cap regeneration. But I still have to deal with this pesky Garmer on me. One thing that I do have going for me here is that I'm currently more than 170 kilometers away from the acceleration gate. That means if the curse warps back in, he's going to be very far away from me. So fast forward a bit, I burned off a lot further off the acceleration gate, and they brought in a tornado and a curse. And this is where I noticed that the Garmer made a mistake. He is currently keeping me at 40 kilometers range instead of orbiting me, which means that my missiles, in theory, should be able to hit him. I am hoping here that he panics, and that in his panic he might drop his point so I can warp off. And that's exactly what happens. He burns away to try and avoid the missile damage, and I manage to slip out of point range and warp off. However, I warp to the sun, so they're obviously going to follow me. And I get very lucky here by being able to warp off just before he points me. In the next fight, I end up starting my fraps quite late. I landed on a small outpost with 2 Alcos and a Succubus, and just before the frap started, I already killed 1 Alcos. The remainder of the Alcos are now warping off and warping back in on top of me. Without neutralizers on the field, it's fairly easy to just tank the Alcos and kill them one by one. So the last of the Algos is gonna go down as soon as my missiles reload here. I'm quite worried at this point since the succubus is going almost 3000 meters per second and he has an afterburner. So he's likely gonna be able to just pull away from me, all the while keeping me pointed. And my fears proved correct here. He is easily able to tank me due to his high speed. And I know he can't kill me, but this being Tama in the Caldari faction warfare area, it is very likely that he's going to be bringing friends to kill me. So I desperately try to get him off my back. And my fears are indeed confirmed when a Garmer warps in and proceeds to tackle me as well. More stuff lands, and I realize that at this point I might not make it out of this alive. I'm trying to pick up distance here to see whether the Garmer or the Succubus makes a mistake that I can take advantage of. So what I end up doing here is going for the Gnosis and trying to soften him up as he burns into me. And even though I'm doing a decent amount of damage to me, he seems not afraid at all. So I end up just getting into orbit on him, scramming him, and I'll try to kill him here. So I'm able to kill the Gnosis here, and I'm thinking, what else can I go for? The Demos looks to be burning in, so I swap missile types to go for the Demos. However, he ends up staying at range, so I'm trying my luck with the Succubus again. Just fast forward, about 5 minutes later. There's currently a lot of stuff on field. There's an Ishimu on top of me, which I'm trying desperately to kill. And of course all the frigates are still there. But unlike the other one, there's no getting out of this one.